I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a good day, a great evening, great night, a great, whatever 24-hour period of the day you're watching this. I am here to explain a little bit of what happened in my last video. I did make a note that there are a lot of twists and turns in my story that eventually all still led me to be here in this traveling role. So we're gonna go over some of that today, and I have my notes down below, so if I do look down, I am looking at my notes. But yeah, let's get into it. All right, let's start where I left off in that video. I basically received confirmation that I was going to be going into this traveling role. It was a done deal. I just needed information from my new supervisor. Well, some time passed, and I wasn't worried about it at first because I still had things I needed to do at the site I was at. I still needed to fully close it, so I had a lot of things that I had to prioritize than just me going into my next role. But it comes to the second to last week that this place is going to be open, and now I'm getting a little bit worried because I'm going to have to start moving all the way back home. So I reach out to my supervisor and I'm like, hey, do I need to reach out to anyone? Was anyone supposed to reach out to me? Do I actually not have this job? Like, what's going on? And they're like, oh no, like, don't worry, everything's good. I will reach out and then they'll reach out to you. You're fine, just continue doing what you're doing. I was like, okay, great, fantastic. Less for me to worry about, and I am okay with that. So fast forward to the last week that I was at the site, the last week that that site was going to be open, and I still didn't hear anything on that Monday. Well, the following day came around. Thankfully, I did hear something, did have a little bit of chat with my new supervisor. It was great. I was pumped, I was excited. Well, the next day, I get a message asking if I can send my resume to them. And I thought that was odd. I got a little bit worried. I was like, wait a second, I'm confused. Okay. But I just sent it just in case maybe they just wanted to look into me a little more. I don't know. Well, turns out that that person who's over my job still, they had an opening in Vegas. Yes, that is correct. Las Vegas, Nevada. Las Vegas, Nevada. And they took a look at my resume and they're like, listen, I think this would be a good fit for you. It's definitely a next stepping stone. This site, massive, massive, massive. It's more than one place, so it definitely had a lot of opportunity there for me to learn more, just develop my skills a little bit more and do something a little bit different than I had been doing at any one of the places I've ever been at. And when I first started out here in this industry, I was told never say no to an opportunity, never, say no to an interview. And I feel like that is good practice, especially for interviewing. Now, every opportunity might not be for you because there are circumstances in your life, but for me, I have nothing holding me anywhere. So I was like, why not? Okay. And they're like, great, we're gonna send your resume to the supervisor over there and they'll get in contact with you. So I said, okay, fantastic. And then that next day I started my trip back home, and I stopped in Charlotte with my friend to visit for about 3 or 4 days maybe. I definitely extended that trip because I didn't want to be caught traveling while having an interview and having to race to like a Starbucks or to the hotel. And I didn't hear anything, so I was like, okay, well, I need to leave, can't stay here forever. So the day before I was supposed to leave, I get a call from that supervisor over that property in Vegas, and they're like, ownership wants to interview with you. When are you free? Can you do this tomorrow? And I was like, oh my gosh, okay. I was like, this is happening, but also I have a planned stop that I need to make. But okay, the time options they gave, I could do one of them. Well, I could do both, but I don't know. I was just a little bit nervous. I was like, am I really about to open myself up to move to Vegas? I don't know. So we set it up, and it took me about 3-4 hours driving because my next stop was in Atlanta, and I got there 30 minutes before my interview time started. So I was a mess. I was trying to, change for this interview. I was unpacking my stuff. Like, I felt like I looked like a complete mess, and I sat down, right on time. And so we were on there, and the supervisor and I were talking, and then after a little while, they're like, let me check if ownership's coming. And I was like, okay, like, it's fine, do what you need to do. So they came back, and they're like, so ownership didn't see this. Do you mind postponing the interview? Can you do later today? What about tomorrow? So I explained that I was in the process of moving back to Texas, and that my hotel, I had to check out at 11, but I could stay later at that hotel, or another day maybe, or another time, because I was on the East Coast and they're on the West Coast, so we have a nice time difference going right now. And they're like, okay, I'll see what we can do. I can see if they'll jump on. And I was like, great. So at this point, it was already after 4 o'clock. I was hungry. I was tired. I semi-undressed just in case. They were like, come on, we're doing this now. Ordered food. And that's exactly what happened. I get a message, and they're like, okay, hop back on in 10 minutes. And I was like, oh my god, because I took a real good look at myself, and I was, like I said, a mess. So I was there straightening my hair, like putting my clothes back on, and as the call was coming in, I just remember taking my straightener, unplugging it, like throwing it on the ground so they wouldn't see it. And oh my goodness, it was a good interview. In the middle of the interview, my food came, and I completely forgot that I ordered food, so I just had someone knocking on my door, and they wouldn't just leave it on the ground. They were knocking, they were insistent, they were ensuring I got my food. So in the middle of it, I had to go, I'm sorry, I have to, someone's knocking at my door, like, I'm so sorry, they won't stop. And they're like, no, go ahead, go get it. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, food, okay. So I brought my food back, and I was like, I'm so sorry, that was my dinner. And they're like, no, it's fine, you're good. I was like, okay. So that happened. I didn't hear anything back on my trip for the rest of the way back home. And the next day, I'm there, like all groggy, tired, exhausted from traveling because I did not get good sleep for the last half of it. And I get this call, and it's from the supervisor, and they asked me, hey, how you doing? Do you have any questions? Do you have any concerns? Is there anything we need to talk about or go over? And I was like, well, what are you talking about? And they're like, oh, well, ownership liked you, and they were offering you the job. And I was like, what? I was like, okay. And then so I explained, like, I hadn't had opportunity to look at my email because I was just like getting myself together to go for the day. And they're like, no worries, like, take the weekend, just let me know. And I was like, okay. As soon as we get off the phone, I go running in the kitchen. I'm wrapped in a towel because I just got out of the shower. I'm like, mom, they offered me the job. And she's like, okay, like, what do they offer you? So I told her everything that they were offering me, and she was like, are you gonna take it? And I was like, well, yeah, I guess. I was like, I guess I'm moving to Vegas. And she's like, we were just jumping up and down, and it was such a happy day. And I was honestly a little bit nervous, but excited, because who can say that they've lived in Vegas, especially for work, but like for work that I do. I don't know. It was crazy. I never saw myself living in Vegas. I've always wanted to visit because I never had visited before, but I was super excited. Then we get everything together because we knew it would have to be kind of a quick turnaround time. So I reserved my cargo van, I get my stuff in order, basically repack my car, pack the cargo van, bring in my cat with me this time, so he was a fun little travel buddy for most of that trip. My mom is amazing. She drove that cargo van all the way from Texas to Vegas, and we had a nice little pit stop in Arizona so she could see her friend, and I got to meet her friend for the first time, and her and her husband were absolutely amazing. I absolutely adore them. So I was happy we got to do that. And then we went, and there I was, and about the 2-month mark I started to feel a little more confident in my role there, and knowing the people and knowing the day-to-day staff that I would be interacting with, also other vendors and people who took part in the site. But then this is where it gets good. Then I received a call from ownership, and they let me know that they're unfortunately terminating their contract with our company, and that was kind of it. So I was like, okay, now I'm not gonna sit here in line say I was relieved to go, or I wanted to go, or I really wanted to say. Yes, I was disappointed because at that time I myself in my head had made the expectation and, you know, kind of the realization, this is going to be my home for the next 2 years. And I did love it there. I loved it there. Like, the area, the city it's so different. It has its own presence about it, and I just really did enjoy it, and I do miss it. I do miss living there. But the one thing that I was really mad about, even though I appreciate being told and not hearing from the company, since, you know, some ownership groups you work closely with, the one thing I was just a little angry about was the fact that I would have to be moving again. 3 moves in a year, with this making 4 moves in a year, is a lot. It's a lot of time, it's a lot of money, it's a lot of stress. I don't think I've ever had one completely, totally stress-free move at all. So there's that. I was fortunate enough to have a friend who came to stay with me for a little while, and I was glad to have him there because he was able to mentally help me along with physically help me pack everything back up, which I'm glad I was only there for 2 months, because again, if y'all moved, you know, your boxes for the most part, and for some people, definitely aren't fully unpacked. And that was me. I had a lot of stuff that still was, you know, in boxes, which was good. So he helped me to repack everything, got everything ready for the movers, because this time I was getting movers. No, I was not about to move by myself again. And thankfully he was able to cancel his plane ticket and drove with me all the way from Vegas to Texas, and we had a nice little trip there. We stopped in some different areas because I said, if I'm going back home, I'm gonna drive through areas that I haven't seen before. So we did that, and it was definitely an experience. It was definitely fun. You know, your next question might be, well, Victoria, you're no longer at this place. How did you wind back here? Well, let me tell you. Basically, I was told anything that I wanted to try and go for, I could. And I took it as a sign from a higher being, from the universe, telling me that this was my opportunity to go back to this traveling group and this is where I needed to be. I don't think that very many people get the same opportunity twice, and who am I to ignore a sign from the universe telling me to do this? So I just felt that this is actually where I truly belonged, and right now in my life this is what I needed. So I said I want to go back to that group that I was only in for a week, and I did. And so we're here in this beautiful hotel room because I'm traveling, and this is what we're doing. This is what I'm doing, and I'm excited. Again, this is my dream job. It's been on my bucket list since middle school, and I do not have very many things that have been on my list or that I've known I've wanted to do in my life, but this is one of them, and it has not changed. And I'm just so thankful and happy that I get to do this. So this is where we're at, and I can't wait to show you more of what I've been doing, or how it actually is traveling 75% of the month, sometimes a little bit more just because how your trips plan out, but that's fine. I have clips of me packing and actually taking the road trip back to Texas, so that will be the next video. It might be split in two if I have a lot that doesn't make sense or looks like, you know, crap, then I'll just condense it into one. But then after that, I'll go on to my first traveling video. But I'm excited, and I hope you're excited, and I hope you're happy to take this journey with me and come see some of the cool areas and areas you might never have heard of before with me, and we can learn about together. And I'm trying to do at least one outing in each town. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't, but you'll be able to see what I do and what I don't do and everything in between. So I hope you're having a great time of whatever 24-hour period of the day you're watching this, and I will see you next time.